Hey guys, what is going on? My name is Brian and today we're here coming back with yet another amazing video. Welcome back to American Reacts to Geography Now, Bulgaria. My Bulgarian friends. So I've been having the pleasure to talk to several of you on Instagram and you have let me know your opinion about the music series. Some of you guys thought the music sucked, some of you guys really digged it. I really appreciate you guys giving me so much advice and feedback as to what you guys want to see. Make sure you're leaving comments on that video or even here down below as to what musicians I should cover next. But today I wanted to dive and learn a little bit more about the culture in Bulgaria. There's an amazing channel here on YouTube named Geography Now. They make amazing content speaking about different countries and their cultures and even traditions. If you want to check out the original video, it's going to be linked down in the description box. But in the meantime, how about we dive right in? Alright my friends, make sure you're hitting that little like button down below. It lets YouTube know I don't completely suck. But let's go right ahead and check it out.
Bulgaria, Bulgaria, Bulgaria. Where have I heard that before? Oh yeah, Victor Crumb from the Harry Potter books. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, now you want to watch this episode,
I had completely forgotten about that guy.
It's time to learn geography now!
Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbie. I'd like to take this moment to coin a term, tripster. A tripster is a travel hipster, someone who is so over the mainstream tourist destinations and they only prefer to go to the bleakest, most obscure regions of the planet.
That sounds like me.
That being said, tripsters watching this video, take notes. Also, let's dissect the flag.
Alright. So it's probably going to be one of those places that I want to go
consisting
to.
of three equally sized horizontal bands, white, green, and red. When it comes to symbolism, even Bulgarians themselves aren't 100% sure exactly what each band means. However, it's generally accepted that they are inspired by the Pan-Slav nationalist movement colors. However, it's also kind of accepted that these are the definitions. The white represents love and peace and freedom and spirituality. The green represents the youthfulness as a new liberated state, agriculture, character, and the beauty of nature. And the red represents the valor and, once again, the blood spilled of those who fought for the country and for the heroes of Bulgaria.
I mean, that was kind of easy. It's pretty simple. I like that.
Very few people actually know where Bulgaria is on a map, but when you look at it, you'll kind of realize that its position is kind of important to the entire continent of Europe. First of all, Bulgaria is located on the eastern part of the Balkan Peninsula, bordered by 5 other countries and the Black Sea to the east. Since Bulgaria is Europe's closest point to Turkey, it's kind of seen as like the crossroads between Europe and Asia. The capital is Sofia, located in the west, and the country is divided into 28 provinces, and the capital Sofia acts as its own province as well. Sofia has a wonderfully unique ambiance.
The capital has such a simple name.
Shavings from the former Soviet identity, but with a modern westernized democratic appeal that exudes through the billboards and media.
I had forgotten you guys were next to the Black Sea.
The Bulgarians have a saying. When God divided up the nations amongst the people, the Bulgarians were late, so instead God gave them a piece of heaven. Now, whether or not you agree or disagree with that, you can't deny the fact that Bulgaria does have some pretty nice grounds. First of all, the country is divided into 2 general topographical areas. The mountainous east with the Balkan, Rila, and Radapiz ranges, and the low-lying flatter Danube Valley and the Gorno-Trakiska lowlands, in which multiple rivers and lakes can be found, in addition to the majority of agriculture plots and grazelands for livestock. Speaking of which, if there's one thing that Bulgarians are proud of, and I'm not even joking, every single Bulgarian I talk to has mentioned this, it would be their unique yogurt. Now, a lot of countries make great yogurt, and people will tell you that the Balkans is actually the birthplace of yogurt. However, Bulgaria is the only place in the world where the yogurt is fermented with the Lactobacillus bulgaricus culture that is only found in the air of Bulgaria. This bacterium gives the yogurt a distinct twang and flavor unlike any other yogurt, and with the milk coming from cows or sheep that typically graze off of high herb-rich pastures, enriching the product with even more health benefits. You come to Bulgaria, we don't mess with our dairy products. You buy it, you buy it. Of course, you also have the Black Sea, which Bulgaria
was that an accurate accent, or was that just kind of racist?
But also has been capitalizing on for tourism. Many Europeans consider the Black Sea coast as kind of like their secret getaway spot that nobody really knows about because everybody's so concerned about thinking that Barcelona and Nice are the only places that you can go to. Ugh, Valencia, I've been so over that for years. I prefer Burgos.
Is that the tripster you'd speak of?
Now, here's the cool thing. Because of natural borders by mountains, in conjunction with wind and weather patterns and water flow, Bulgaria is home to a wide variety of entertainingly strange natural landmarks, such as the Belogradchik eroded rock cliffs, the stone mushrooms of Beliklas, the Popti Kamani stones. Also keep in mind the Popti Kamani area in Spain is one of the only 2 naturally occurring deserts in all of Europe. And then we get to something that Bulgaria is definitely not in short supply of, caves and waterfalls. We reach places like the Devil's Throat Cave with the world's highest underground waterfall, the Devatashka Cave with holes in its ceiling, the Eyes of God Cave in Prohodna. In fact,
I think I've seen that picture though in the past.
4,500 charted caves in its entire country. Also, keep in mind, 32 of the 37 species of bats in Europe call Bulgaria home. So if there's one thing you you can take away from this, it's that Bulgaria is a very cavey
Whoa.
place. Waterfalls also speckle the landscape, mostly in the eastern mountainous regions. The tallest one in the Balkans being the Resko Praskalo, the picturesque Krushuna Falls, and the town with the most fortunate fairy tale view, Vrasta, which has the Skaklia, a waterfall looming above their skyline on the mountain, ever flowing from the cliffs adjacent to the direct vicinity of the
But that
town.
looks so beautiful. Yes.
I just can't even. Now, if you ask Bulgarians, one more thing that they'll tell you that they're proud of is their roses. Roses are cultivated all across the entire country, but most heavily in the Rose Valley, just below the Balkan mountain range. Bulgaria produces over 70% of the world's rose oil, a substance used by pressing on the petals and also most commonly used in perfumery. They have so many roses that typically the abundance allows them to have rose festivals.
This is like such random but interesting things.
Have a rose queen beauty contest, and they kind of just end up dancing around and throw roses all over
Aww.
the place. Kind of like the La Tomatina festival in Spain, except it's a lot cleaner and more better smelling. Wow, that's the second time we've contrasted Bulgaria with Spain. Let's see if there's any more parallels in. Now, Bulgarians may be Slavic, well, kind of, we'll explain more about that in a bit, but they definitely have their own Bulgarian way of doing things. Bulgaria has a population of about 7.5 million people, most of whom identify as ethnically Bulgarian, at about 85%.
Pretty healthy population.
9% of the population being Turks, about 5% are Roma, commonly referred to as Gypsies, making Bulgaria the country with the third highest Gypsy population, and the remainder of the country coming from other nationalities.
So how do you guys feel about the
sad
Gypsies?
thing. Since the fall of the Soviet Union, Bulgaria has one of the highest population declines in the world. They used to have around 9 million people back in 1990, but since then the emigration and death rate has surged past the population growth rate, and since then Bulgaria has seen a rather alarming population decline in the past few decades.
That's pretty fast, actually.
This all had to do partially with company privatization and the social structure investments going completely out of whack after independence from the former Soviet Union. Statistics project that about 60,000 people leave Bulgaria every year, and in 2012, 24 towns were completely wiped off the map as they were completely abandoned, and about 170 towns were on the verge of extinction. The good news, though, is that this makes Bulgaria one of the perfect places for cheap shopping, real estate, business, and cheap vacation getaways. In fact, since recently
wherever
joining
entrepreneur
the EU
wants to
and
go
NATO,
to.
which has, by the way, caused a lot of controversy,
travel.
Bulgaria has seen a completely unprecedented level of tourism and business booming. Yeah, economic nerds, Bulgaria is the kind of place where you might want to consider pulling a Warren Buffett. I'm just saying. Ethnic Bulgarian people will tell you that they have roots from the Bulgar tribes, which nomadically came from the eastern regions of Eurasia, as far speculated as the Central Asian regions, until they eventually settled down into what is now known as modern Ukraine. Eventually they came down and mixed in with the Slavs and formed Bulgaria. So technically, a lot of people in Bulgaria could have Central Asian roots, and considering how far the Huns extended their reaches, that's not completely out of the question. Culture-wise, Bulgaria is proud to proclaim itself as the birthplace of the Cyrillic alphabet, used by over 250 million people in Eastern Europe and Central Asia, extending as far as Mongolia. Oh, and one more thing, just like we talked about in an earlier video, like some regions in Albania, Bulgaria is one of the only few places in the world where people shake their head to say yes and nod their heads to say no.
Wait, what?
Now let's talk about the people Bulgaria interacts with. Now, Bulgaria has one of the most anomalous core of companions that you would never really expect them to engage with.
No.
First off, the strange thing is, in 2004, in addition
so
to other
weird.
former Soviet states, Bulgaria took a bold step and joined NATO, and 3 years later joined the EU. This was kind of a big deal considering the Soviet-linked past and the ties that Bulgaria was rooted in. This move also opened up Bulgaria's diplomacy to unparalleled standards that they never really had before. All this kind of puts Bulgaria in a very unique intercessory class status when it comes to East versus West. Typically, Bulgaria will kind of act as like a mediator for the EU and NATO when it comes to cross-operational engagements. When it comes to the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, commonly referred to as just Macedonia, Bulgaria has a strange relationship. By all means, these two countries speak the same language and have pretty similar backgrounds as Slavic nations.
Really?
The problem is where things went down about 80 years ago. Basically, this is what Bulgaria says. Look, Macedonia, we want to love you guys. You're basically just Bulgarians, but you've been brainwashed by Georgy Pilevsky into thinking you have some kind of indigenous Hellenistic roots. You don't. You're Bulgarians. Just accept it. To which the Macedonians say, shut up, Bulgaria. You don't know us. Okay, we are descended from Alexander the Great. You belong to Macedonia. I don't want to say it's kind of like the North-South Korea
It's always
thing,
one trying to
because
conquer the
that
other.
level of animosity, but in a fundamental sense, ideologically, it is kind of like the North-South Korea thing. They generally do not favor
Not as
Turkey
bad,
that
though.
much because for 500 years they were under the Ottoman Empire, and they pretty much hated every second of it. It wasn't until the 19th century when they finally gained their independence with the help of the Russians fighting alongside with them. This means that Russia is kind of seen as like the brother friend of Bulgaria. Even though in every aligned organizational sense, they kind of took every step away from Russia.
Yeah,
even though they were kind
and
of
yet they
taken
still
over by
have
the
that
Soviets for a
friendship.
long time. Tensions are low and they still get along great. However, Romania is kind of seen as like the new boyfriend that Bulgaria just started dating, especially especially after joining the EU, relations grew
Where's my
fast.
Romanian
Presidents
people?
regularly visit each other and hang out. Business is great. Ferries and bridges connect the two countries across the Danube, where people love to visit each other, and Romanian-Bulgarian marriages are not uncommon. In conclusion, wax your mustaches and put on your skinny jeans, because if you are so over the mainstream, you might want to just stop by and smell the roses.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Barbie. I want to start off with the fact that I never pictured a country having such a simple name for their capital. Now I'm curious about like other names. Like, mind you, they always get so interesting, like Riga or Bangkok or like, you know, this like really weird thing. I stopped at Bangkok for a reason. So Sophia, that's fairly easy to remember. Oh, I like that. Being raised here in South Florida, I got my first job. I should probably not say this. This is like illegal. But I got my job like at 15, and I was working at a catering company. I don't want to say the names. I don't want to get anyone in trouble. But I had this gentleman there that was my manager, and he happened to be Bulgarian. Absolutely one of the kindest human beings that I have personally ever met. Was such a sweetheart. I really wish I knew where he was at this point. But no one had ever handed me the memo that Bulgarians make amazing yogurt. I'm gonna have to go into like an international supermarket now and like find it. Like, this sounds really interesting, but then again, if it's imported, does that mean that the bacteria survived? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I just make videos on YouTube. I did find it absolutely amazing that you guys are one of the only places out in Europe that has a natural desert, and then on top of that, such an abundance of caves. I live in Florida, which is one of the states of the United States, and it is the flattest state in the United States. Wow, that was a lot of states. But you guys apparently have an abundance of cave. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he said over like 7,000. I can't remember the number, I'm human. But that you guys have a lot of caves, and then on top of that, you guys have 32 out of 35 different bat species. That's a lot of bats. I'm gonna have to Google if you guys have like that really large one, like that enormously large thing that like, I don't know, it's like might as well just be a human being. Give him some shoes. Some Tripolowski, you know, Adidas. Since you guys are Slavic, you know, give him a tracksuit while you're at it. How did you guys feel about that Slavic determination? I know he was a little bit like on the iffy side. Like, what do you consider yourself to be? In regards to the population decreasing so heavily from 1990s to 2015, I actually had to Google it. It is currently still at the same rate, so it hasn't gone. It doesn't seem like it's gotten worse. But anyways, I think that's actually pretty good. I don't know about you guys, but I personally prefer a country that has like a decent amount of people, but not too many. Like, there is too many people here in the city. I need to move to like a forest or something. The most interesting thing was to see how you guys have stepped away from Russia, like with all these years, and yet for some other reason you guys have maintained such a close relationship. And then I was completely mind blown when apparently, I didn't even know this was a thing to begin with. Apparently there's countries out there besides you guys that say, what is it? No and yes. Like, what? Like, what? This should be illegal. Like, that is complete dissociation of like all civilization. But that's fine because you guys probably have more than enough rose petals to go with that. Anyways, my friends, I really appreciate you sticking around. Let me know if you found out something new about your country that you were not aware of. Anyways, if they missed out on something, make sure you leave comments down below. I do want to read them and find out something unique. My friends, if you guys were not aware, we have a P.O. box in case you want to send out some treats or snacks. I will be giving you a shout out and we will make an entire episode out of it. So make sure you check it out. We have 2 different ones, so just choose whatever you're going to send. If you're interested in supporting what we do here on this channel, you can definitely do so. There's a link down below with amazing perks. Check it out. Let me know if you have any questions. Like, subscribe, stick around until the end of this video. We got some more amazing videos at the end. And until next time, my friends, hasta la pasta, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Bye.